NBC3 Sports is sponsored by Matthews Kia of Clay.
Syracuse men's basketball took care of business in convincing fashion this afternoon against Florida State, but the actions of one SU star is all anyone can talk about. Welcome into sports. I'm Tyler Melito. Not long ago, the ACC announced that Buddy Boeheim has been suspended for one game for a punch he threw at an FSU player. Details on that in a moment. But if you don't believe me that the Orange's win was dominant, well, here it is for you again. Cole Swider cooking in this one. Didn't have a great game against Miami, but he had a great game today against the Noles. How great? 28 points, including those 2 threes. We'll see one more from him later, and I can guarantee you it was better. Joe Girard III, JG 3 from 3. Yeah, money. What did you expect? Come on. But here's the moment everyone's talking about. Buddy Boeheim gets shoved underneath the hoop, and then bam! Right punch to the gut. Yeah, that probably hurt if I was to guess. Someone who will play a big role tomorrow, Symir Torrance. And the foul. He was a spark plug today. He'll have to be one tomorrow. Orange up big. Girard, step back 3, no good. But Cole Swider in the corner. And the foul. 4 is greater than 3. I did learn that one in grade school. Buddy buckets. 14 points, maybe the last bucket we see from him in an SU uniform, but play of the game. Buddy, Jimmy, little bro, to big bro, so good, we'll see it again, and even so good, even more, we'll see it one more time. Orange, up big, they had a phenomenal day, 96-57, but post-game, Dad giving his thoughts on the punch.
I think it was inadvertent, but that's okay. I just watched the play.
It's being shared all over social media. He punched him in his stomach. It wasn't inadvertent. It would have been a
whatever you
foul.
say. Whatever you say. Well, good. You say it. I just gave you my version of what I saw.
So we got coaches' thoughts, we got the media's thoughts, but the one person's thought, or I guess group's thought, that mattered the most, the ACC. As mentioned, Buddy Boeheim will not play when the Orange take the court against Duke tomorrow. Barring a miracle victory against the Blue Devils, today's game marks probably the final time SU fans will see the senior don the orange uniform. Not the way you want to go out. Tomorrow's game tips off at noon for anyone still interested in watching. But that's it for sports. I'm Tyler Melito. Matt Mulcahy, back to you at the desk. After last offseason saw over 10 players leave the Syracuse women's basketball program, mainly by way of the transfer portal, 3 players from this year's team have already decided to follow and enter the names into the portal as well. Welcome into sports. I'm Tyler Melito. So who are these players? Well, you got Chrislyn Carr, Christiana Carr, and Juliana Walker. The Carrs not related, to be clear. I know, very weird that their names are so similar, and yet there is no relation that we know of. They started this past season as seniors, and it came into the SU program under the notion that they'd be playing for Quinton Hillsman. Well, not long after they signed, he resigned after an internal investigation found misconduct. They'll look to play a graduate year elsewhere, while Walker, she was a freshman this past season, and according to her father, she's just looking for some more playing time. Earlier this month, the university announced that the process has already begun to find a more permanent head coach to replace acting head coach Vaughn Reed. Syracuse football doesn't kick off for about 6 months or so, but the fans will get a chance to watch the 2022 team go head-to-head in this year's spring game next week, the first traditional offense versus defensive game in about 3 years due to COVID-19. And from what we see so far, Garrett Schrader is taking first-team reps, but this is football. You always got to earn your position every year. Michigan transfer Dan Villari, number 12, right to Schrader's right, is the main competition. Jacoby and Morgan as well. Number 15, played a lot of backup last season. Now they're under a new offense led by Robert Anai taking over as offensive coordinator, and Jason Beck, the new QB coach, both of whom saw success at Virginia the past few years. Schrader wearing a new number 6, not the number 16 we saw a year ago, something he says he has had to earn both on the field and off the field.
That's what I've always worn. They didn't Coach Babers didn't give it to me. Didn't feel like I earned it till this spring, so just making sure I'm going out and earning that, keep continuing to earn that every single day.
We're a little over a week out from the Syracuse spring game, as mentioned, happening next Friday, April 1st at the Dome, open to the public, and for the first time ever, it'll be televised on the ACC network at 7 p.m. But if you want to go in person, tickets are free, but you will need to claim them online at cuse.com/tickets. And congratulations are in order for Coach Paul Flanagan as he is hanging up his coaching jacket with Syracuse women's ice hockey. Flanagan has led the program since it was formed and went to Division I back in 2008. He heads out on a relative high note after winning both the CHA regular season and tournament championships, even though the Orange lost in the NCAA tournament to Quinnipiac earlier this month. A rather fitting end to one of the architects of the program. Coach Flanagan, enjoy retirement.
And now, your Citrus TV Sports Report.
You know, in sports, sometimes it's just so good to have someone where you just say, we're going to give you the ball, you just take over and dominate. And for Syracuse men's lacrosse this season, they have found that guy. Good evening and welcome into sports. I'm Tyler Melito. Although through 8 games, the Orange are just 4-4, they may have turned somewhat of a corner as they have won their last 2. The MVP for Gary Gates' squad this season, well, it's been that guy right behind me, Tucker Dordevic. Dordevic was originally slated to be the Robin to sophomore Owen Hiltz' Batman, but after an injury left Hiltz out and for the start of the season, Dordevic has taken over. Through 8 games this season, Dordevic has notched 31 goals on 93 shots, as you see on your screen, with 11 assists to go along with it. He ranks 3rd in the nation in goals per game with just under 4, just decimal points behind the 2 players tied for first. Comparing that to last season, the then redshirt sophomore had 14 goals on 42 shots with 5 assists through 8 games. Dordevic finds himself on the Tewaaraton watch list for the nation's best player and was recently named ACC Player of the Week for the 2nd consecutive week and says he's just trying to have as much fun as possible.
Trying to have fun and enjoy as much as I can with the guys on this team. It's been a blast. It's been a lot of fun, and I know how much firepower we do have and what we can do going forward. And I'm just trying to soak up every moment and you know, help as much as I can.
Now, although he is a 5th-year player for Syracuse, he is only a redshirt junior due to COVID-19 and injury, so he's got some time before he leaves SU. But many have said he might be gaining the attention of professional lacrosse teams, something that some of his former teammates like Stephen Rafis have done in recent seasons. The transition from college lacrosse to the pros isn't always the easiest, though. I caught up with the former Orange star to talk about that transition and how he was able to have success in his rookie season.
If you didn't know, lacrosse is kind of a big deal here in Central New York, specifically Syracuse lacrosse. But what happens after a player leaves SU? A very fortunate few go on to play professionally. That includes Stephen Rafis, who made the transition from college to the pros just this past summer and found himself ahead of the game entering his first training camp coming out of college.
Oh, I think coming from college, you're at such an advantage, even though you're a rookie and you're new and you're the youngest. So that stuff can be hard, but you're at such an advantage because you just played a whole season. You've been practicing, you've been getting live reps.
It was not all peaches and cream for the Cannons Lacrosse Club attackmen. There were some things that the rookie had to adjust to now that he was in the pros.
One thing that was definitely super challenging and something I didn't realize is just how physical it is. College is obviously physical, but the PLL is just a whole different level of physicality.
Being able to adapt and grow is extremely important in a sport like lacrosse, and Rafis is no exception, as his rookie year has now come to a close.
Being able to play different positions and being able to kind of just like have your head coach be like, hey, you need you to be here, like, and just being able to do it type of thing, like not limiting yourself into one box, I think definitely really helped me and is why I was able to play midfield. So I think just being open-minded and really just having a skill set that allows you to kind of do different things.
Now, guys, Rafis' play this season actually earned him a contract extension with the Cannons Lacrosse Club through the 2024 season. And one quick note before we go. Syracuse women's lacrosse currently in action inside the dome against number 6 Loyola. That game is tied 1-1. At least it was for a little bit. I don't know if it still is at the end of the first quarter.
So you got a lot of that professional lacrosse talk. The PLL just signed a deal with ESPN.
Yeah, Chile, this is massive news for the game of lacrosse. It's certainly growing from where it was even 5 years ago. So to have this deal with ESPN for the next 4 or 5 years, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, this is a massive deal for all of lacrosse.
That visibility, too, on what is one of the
worldwide leader.
Exactly.
Tyler Melito, thank you. When we come back, one last look at your weather. Stay with us.
Earlier this week, Felicia Leggett-Jack was named the newest head coach of Syracuse women's basketball. Earlier today, we spoke with men's lacrosse coach Gary Gate, who who had nothing but fond memories of his time as a student athlete at SU with Leggett Jack.
Well, Tyler, it certainly looked like it was a lot of fun inside the Dome. You mentioned it earlier that it was great to have fans back inside the Dome. What exactly made it so great?
You know what it is, Johnny? I think last season, at times, we saw with Joe Girard a lot. He struggled, and I think he feeds off the fans. He feeds off the energy that they provide. It seemed like every time he did something positive, he was amping up the fans, and they were getting louder and louder progressively. And I think this whole team is kind of like that. Just having those people in your corner supporting you. Carrier Dome is notoriously known for being one of the best home court advantages in all of college basketball, and we kind of saw why last night.
And for the final time, at least in the regular season, Jim Boeheim and Mike Krzyzewski went up head-to-head as opposing head coaches. And although the game was a blowout 97-72 in favor of Duke inside the Carrier Dome, the game took a back seat to what is ultimately a long-standing friendship and appreciation between two legendary head coaches. And post-game, that appreciation was in full force.
It's a different world today. And there's been a lot of great coaches. There's nobody even close to what Mike has done. And he's given everything to the game and made the game, helped make the game what it is today, without any question. And I'm just happy that we're good friends.
And I really think about Jim and his program and the excellence that they've had for the almost 5 decades he's been here. I mean, he's been a national champion. He's knocked on the door a couple more times. This is one of those iconic programs, Syracuse. And I think ours is too. And so when you bring both of them together in this setting, it's spectacular for college basketball.
Although Coach K may be hanging up his whistle, Coach Boeheim has no intentions of doing so just yet.
Whoever said I wasn't? I'm asking. I don't know. You don't need this. It's been asked and answered 26,000 times. Every press conference I gave in the beginning of the year is I have no intentions of not coaching.
Although the game did take a back seat, one cannot overlook the fact that Syracuse has lost their last 2 games and only got 2 games left in the regular season. They'll need to hit a quick reset button as they head down to Chapel Hill to take on North Carolina on Monday. Reporting for Citrus TV, I'm Tyler Melito. To have your number retired, regardless of sport, is one of the highest honors an athlete could receive. But for Felicia Leggett Jack, her honor holds a little bit more weight, as she is the first woman to ever have her number retired by Syracuse Athletics. In her time at SU, Leggett Jack scored over 1,500 points, grabbing over 900 rebounds, and among other honors was named to the Big East Silver Anniversary team back in 2004. For the players on this current edition of Syracuse women's basketball, just to be able to play on the day where she was honored is really cool.
She's a woman, and she's a black woman, and we're all black women playing the sport that she's getting her jersey retired in. So I think it's absolutely remarkable, and I'm grateful to be here in the time that I was able to be a part of it, for sure.
Leggett Jack having her jersey retired could serve as a sort of motivation for the current members of this SU women's team as they strive to one day have their numbers hanging up in the rafters next to hers.
I'll say the same thing Elijah said, and also it's cool that she's the first woman to ever do it. And that's just a big accomplishment, and we all look forward to doing that one day. And like she said, it's just very exciting to play on this night that she gets to hang her jersey up.
Leggett Jack having her number retired served as an opportunity to tell some stories about her time here in Orange.
It was great, I mean, to see her number go up. I mean, she was a great player when she was here. She won a Big East championship, and one of the things about her, she called that championship before she got here, so that was pretty bold then. So she was a great player, very well deserving of her hanging her numbers in the rafters, and we have some other players that'll be able to follow behind her.
Leggett Jack is one of 4 former SU athletes who will have their numbers retired this school year. The other 3 are current SU men's lacrosse coach Gary Gate, Anna Goodale, who was on the SU women's rowing team from 2002 to 2005, and Katie Rowan-Thompson, who played for SU's women's lacrosse team from 2006 to 2009. Reporting for Citrus TV, I'm Tyler Melito. Ricky, Louise, back to you.